Now, speaking of Iowa, Kentucky Senator and Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul joins me now with Iowa, of course, the first voting. Thank you, Senator, for being with us. Well, you're not going to be on the stage tonight in the Republican debate. You've opted out of the undercard. Tell me why.
Well, I think it's a mistake with only about 3 weeks to go in the election to let anyone designate your campaign as not being a contender. So we just made the decision that the media shouldn't get to decide this and that the party shouldn't get to decide this. Besides, the most recent polls out of Iowa have me definitely in contention and above and ahead of a couple of the people they did include on the debate stage. So we think the decision making was arbitrary and capricious, and we just weren't willing to take it, frankly.
Now, one of the things that you've done in trying to pressure the Republican Party and Fox Business, the other debate sponsors, to put you on the main stage is you were on the air with Alex Jones, the conservative talk show host. Let me play a little bit of that.
What does my audience do to get you in that debate, Senator?
I think the best thing would be to call the Republican National Committee and tell Reince Priebus that they need to allow all voices to be heard in the debate and that it's not fair to exclude me from the debate.
Do you have any problem with going on, I guess you didn't, with Alex Jones, someone who's a conspiracy theorist who said that Sandy Hook didn't happen, 9/11 didn't happen? Why would you go on the air with someone of his, with his background?
I think I've been pretty ecumenical. I go on the air with people from the far right to the far left. This morning I'm on MSNBC, which is not a conservative network or not thought to be a conservative network. So I don't think anybody accuses me of being afraid of going on with the right or the left. And, the job of a candidate is try to get your message out, get it out to anyone who's listening, and try to change the direction of the country.
What do you think of this matchup between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump? Ted Cruz now, the New York Times disclosing that he had a loan from Goldman Sachs, not a favorable rate, they all claim, but it wasn't disclosed properly to the FEC. He did that subsequently, apparently. Does it matter?
I think what will end up being more important and that voters will probably look at and probably judge to be more important was that Ted Cruz didn't show up and didn't think enough of auditing the Federal Reserve to actually show up and support me in that battle this week in the Senate. I think that's affecting him more probably than the loan will be. But we'll see. Voters still haven't decided yet.
And what about Nikki Haley and her response to the State of the Union? There's a lot of criticism from the conservative side of the party. She was praised by establishment Republicans, but slammed by others, including Donald Trump, for what she said, obviously shots that she took against Trump and other voices in the party, as well as in the media.
I think Donald Trump would be a disaster for the Republican Party. I've spent the last 2 years trying to say we need to be a bigger party, more inclusive, more diverse, rich, poor, white, black. I've been really trying to expand the notion of our party, and I think Donald Trump is trying to narrow that. And there is a certain anger that appears to be directed towards different ethnic groups that I think is a mistake. Our party, I think, actually needs to do much more than we've done to be a bigger party. So I think Donald Trump would take us back a generation or two, and I think would absolutely destroy the party. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure that he's not the nominee.
What if he is?
Well, we can only hope, and I think that he isn't. But I think we make a mistake, and often because we have so much time now to talk about politics, that we really think that we're going to pre-decide things. Nothing is really known until people go to vote February 1st. Even the polling, in all likelihood, probably has no validity in what will happen on February 1st.
I agree with you there. I think until people have voted, and we've seen how volatile it is. But getting back to Trump, what if he is, collecting delegates, and what if it turns out that way? What if the polling's correct and he's the nominee? What do you do?
I faced this same dilemma when I ran for the U.S. Senate. I was the underdog. The establishment had their candidate, but everybody, my opponents as well as myself, promised to support the nominee, and that's how party politics works a lot, so your party can beat the other party. So while I want to be the nominee, I pledge that I will support who will be the nominee, because I think that's the only way the party can draw together, because you need everybody in the end to beat the other party. So I think it's a hypothetical, obviously, that's uncomfortable, because we're vying in a very heated battle right now to see who will be the nominee, and I don't want Donald Trump to be the nominee. But I think it's an unfair question in the sense that we aren't there yet. Let's ask it once we get there, and I think you'll find probably the same answer, that most people will support the nominee.
And is there any chance that you can be on that debate stage? I don't know what your conversations are. What are you doing today to try to fix this, or what is your counter programming?
We've pointed out to the Republican Party and to the network that if you look at the polls that have come out, that we should be included. The most recent poll by the Des Moines Register, thought to be one of the most accurate polls out there, has me by myself in 5th place, and this would, averaged in with the others that they were looking at, would actually have me in the debate. So we think to quibble about tenths of points really is unscientific. The polls have a margin of error often of 2 or 3 points, sometimes 4 points. And so really it's unscientific and biased, and really does a lot towards, instead of growing the Republican Party, it looks like they want to shrink the Republican Party if they want to push the liberty vote out, the libertarian leaning voters out of the party. These voters can go other places. They sometimes vote for third party candidates. And so, I don't know, we think it's a mistake that they made, and we hope that they'll try to correct it.
And what are you going to be doing tonight if you're not on that stage?
Well, we are going to be reaching out to our 2 million people on Facebook and others. We're going to be having a teletown hall at randpaul.com. And if anybody wants to ask me directly a question, go to our Facebook and become part of our teletown hall tonight.
Rand Paul, Senator, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.